Martin O'Neill has just opened the door to something that could change everything at Celtic Park. He's calling for a meeting between fans and the board to finally heal the divisions tearing the club apart. Plus, O'Neill reveals his transfer window hopes. We've got the real reason he cancelled that Sky Sports appearance, and Henrik Larsson drops some incredible stories about his time at Celtic. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Martin O'Neill has sent a message to Celtic supporters, welcoming the idea of a meeting between fans and the club hierarchy in a bid to heal the deep divisions that have engulfed Parkhead in recent months. It comes after the Celtic Fans Collective published a detailed open letter to interim chairman Brian Wilson, who himself called for unity after the arrival of Martin O'Neill for the second time this season. O'Neill, speaking following the dismissal of Wilfried Nancy after just 8 games in charge, acknowledged the supporters' frustrations and made it clear that he'd support efforts to bring both sides together. Do you know what I think? I wouldn't mind having a meeting with a group of people just for people to air their grievances and things like that, he told the Glasgow Times. I'm a football manager. It's rather obnoxiously ridiculous of me to think that I can resolve a problem. What you can do is, I think, maybe have a bit of a truce if that's the case. I'd love it if the stadium was absolutely just ready to go and ready to support the players through thick and thin, because it will be a difficult time. It does wear you down a bit, so it would be nice to have people together. We'd have to try and win the football matches, and that quells things for a little while. That's all it does. But eventually, at some stage, whatever comes or goes, the board and supporters will have to come back into unison. Fans have grown tired of the board's silence and frustrated by a series of PR disasters, from the sacking of Brendan Rodgers, which led to that crazy Dermot Desmond statement, to the bizarre appointment of Nancy, to the continued ban on the Green Brigade and the fan media blackout. His first game back in the dugout comes on Saturday, at home to Jim Goodwin's Dundee United. The Arabs were on the winning side when they faced Celtic a few weeks ago, with Nancy in charge. The Hoops took the lead, but a second-half crumble saw United win 2-1. Celtic sit third in the table, 6 points behind Hearts and 3 off Rangers, and need unity on and off the park if they are to get themselves back into the title race. Now for the main story, as Martin O'Neill is back at the helm of Celtic, but while his return has lifted spirits, the legendary boss is under no illusions about the scale of the task ahead or the financial constraints that might come with it. O'Neill has made it clear he's not expecting a spending spree this January, but insists the club must provide at least some backing in the transfer market if they're serious about salvaging the season. I'm not saying that we're going to break any sort of transfer records. I'm sure that will not be the case, O'Neill admitted. I'm hoping that there is leeway then to be able to do things. I will be in a better position to know in the next couple of days. The veteran manager knows Celtic sit behind both Rangers and Hearts in the table, and with Champions League football and the title race on the line, recruitment is key. The squad is light in several areas, and the January window represents a crucial chance to turn things around. The squad desperately needs quality to claw back the gap. Hearts and Rangers are now ahead of Celtic and have the momentum behind them, while Celtic have just 2 wins in the last 8 in all competitions, a form that led to Nancy getting the sack. Chris Sutton is adamant that Martin O'Neill would have been given guarantees before accepting to come back to the job. Celtic have got money in the bank, and it needs to be spent this summer, or that rainy day that the club have been preparing for will come back-to-back years. In other news, Martin O'Neill has opened up on why he pulled the plug on his planned Sky Sports appearance for last weekend's Glasgow derby. The Irishman was due to be part of the broadcast team alongside Chris Boyd, Neil McCann and Chris Sutton for the Derby showdown, but just days before kick-off, he pulled out. Jackie McNamara was brought in as a late replacement, but speaking this week after being reappointed as interim Celtic manager, O'Neill explained the logic behind his decision, and it came down to respect. I didn't think it was appropriate, he said. I was down to do Sky TV for the Rangers game, but I didn't think it was appropriate. If the team had been winning games, then fine, absolutely fine, but that's all. You don't want to be scurrying around in the stand. I've seen it before when I was a manager, and there were boys in the stands, managers who were out of a job, staring down. I didn't like it. 2 days after Celtic were beaten 3-1 by Rangers at Celtic Park, Wilfried Nancy was sacked, along with head of football operations Paul Tisdale. The board turned back to the man who had already helped steer them through crisis earlier in the season, appointing Martin O'Neill until the end of the season. Celtic are 6 points behind Hearts, 3 off Rangers, and now must fight back for the second time this season, with the 73-year-old legend once again asked to clean up the boardroom's mess. O'Neill will, of course, have the opportunity to add some quality to his squad over the January transfer window. He's talked about wanting to do so, and Sean Maloney will play a big role in the recruitment team. In other news, Celtic great Henrik Larsson has revealed that a contract clause led to his Celtic move, which not many outside of Feyenoord would have known about. He also described the Hoops as my club during an appearance on the Stick to Football podcast alongside Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Roy Keane, and Ian Wright. The Swedish striker, widely regarded as one of the greatest players ever to pull on the green and white hoops, reflected on his move to Glasgow in 1997, a transfer that would not only define his own career, but also shape one of the most successful periods in Celtic's modern history. Celtic is my club. It's where I made my name. It's where I became the player that you guys know, Larsson said. At the time, Larsson was on the books at Feyenoord, where opportunities were limited despite his obvious talent. A contract clause that maybe Wim Jansen shouldn't have known about helped a move surface. I was at Feyenoord at the time and felt it was time for something new. At the time, going to the Scottish League was seen as a step back. Feyenoord had won the league the year before, but Ajax was so strong. I didn't always play and wanted to play more. I had signed a new deal at Feyenoord, but I had a clause in my contract, a certain amount inside Holland and a certain amount outside. Wim Jansen, who had brought me to Holland originally, knew about it. Maybe he shouldn't have known, but I'm happy he did, because that's how I ended up at Celtic. Signed for just £650,000, Larsson went on to score an astonishing 242 goals in 315 appearances for Celtic, averaging better than a goal every 1.3 games. He won 8 major honours with the club, including 4 league titles and 2 Scottish Cups, and famously fired Celtic to the 2003 UEFA Cup final in Seville, scoring twice against Porto. Larsson came agonizingly close to European Golden Shoe success in 2001 after scoring 35 league goals. Under O'Neill, Larsson produced his most devastating football, combining elite-level finishing with selfless movement and relentless work rate. More than 2 decades on, Larsson's connection to Celtic remains unbreakable. Any event involving him in Glasgow sells out instantly, his name still draws a roar from the stands, and his legacy endures as the benchmark by which every Celtic striker is judged. Lastly, Henrik Larsson has opened up about his decision to leave Celtic in 2004, revealing that he wanted to bow out while still at the top of his game. Speaking on the Stick to Football podcast, the legendary striker reflected on his final season at Parkhead and his exit under Martin O'Neill. Larsson, who scored an astonishing 242 goals in 315 games for the Hoops, said the time was simply right for a new challenge after 7 years in Glasgow. I had stayed 7 years. If you don't score in a few games, it's not the same old Larsson anymore. I had a meeting with the gaffer because I decided already in the summer that I would run the year out, but I would tell everybody. The gaffer was okay. I just wanted to get out while I was still ahead, and that was fair enough. To be fair, Martin O'Neill was always nice to me, always good, but I was good for him as well. So I said straight away I wanted to get as good an ending as possible. I had told the supporters early as well. I did that to be transparent so nobody was kept in the dark. That's all for today's Celtic news. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more daily Celtic updates. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about O'Neill's call for a fan board meeting. Will it actually happen? See you in the next one. Hail, hail.